Ah, there we go. Wondering what happened to me. Why am I turning this? Okay, let's fix this. No. There we go. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the stream, guys. We're back. We are here. We are a deer. Well, not really. But, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. I know I'm having a pretty great day right now. Just made some burgers, made some coffee. I know, strange combination, but it's my lunch generally. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about the Path of Exile and the upcoming stuff for it. Yeah. Right. Let's pull this up. I saw a few things here that I'd actually like just to look over real quick. Or because like the reveal's in a few minutes, I believe, or it's just starting now. But I saw this trailer. I want to check this out real quick. All right, this game's cool. You know, it's a little loud. I like the art style. I like it. I like it. I like it. It's extra anime, you know? This game reminds me, like, art style aside, of a game called Battleheart. I used to play back on mobile. All right. Oh, it's Nexon. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Let's see. Let's look at the, oh my. Where's legendary drops? Where's the link? I like it.
That one seems a little busted.
The Warbringer channels the might of his ancestors to gain tremendous power. Using answered call, you can summon ancestral spirits linked to each of your
Where's the official reveal? Here it is. No. Where the fuck is the reveal? Is it on Twitch? It's got to be on Twitch. There's no other fucking place. I can't find it on YouTube. Let me pull it up here. Let me just pull this up here. All right. I can't find a proper stream. Like, I can't find the actual stream. So, I guess we're just gonna lose at legendary drops. I'm sorry, buddy.
With eagle eyes, she will never miss, allowing you to stop wasting all those passive points on accuracy.
I appreciate me being able to sponge off his clout right now. But, unfortunately, this is where we're at.
She can choose from one of several throwable concoctions, allowing her to spend her flask charges to throw explosive bottles that deal various types of damage.
I'll pull up legendary.
Will make your enemies bleed, while a fulminating one can shock your enemies, allowing you to do extra damage. Contagious contamination allows her to spread poisons between her foes, while overwhelming toxicity doubles the number of stacks they can be infected by.
Yeah, I might play Ranger.
Running assault allows her to move much more quickly while firing, while relentless pursuit makes her totally immune to being slowed by enemies.
Part of me is like going
The
against
witch
my
can ascend into the infernalist or the blood mage.
Ooh.
As an infernalist, she can summon a loyal hellhound companion. The hellhound sets enemies on fire, as well as taking a percentage of the damage if the infernalist gets hit. With Pyromantic Pact, you can turn your mana into infernal flame. As you cast more spells,
Yeah, I'm definitely going mage again for my first one. I'm definitely going mage.
using Bringer of Flame, you'll want to make sure you keep the flames topped up. While your infernal flame is above 30%, all damage from you and your minions will ignite enemies. She can also transform into a literal demon. While in demon form, she takes an increasing amount of damage, but her cast speed and damage increase rapidly as well. So if you're planning on transforming into a demon, make sure you stack a lot of life recovery. She can also become a blood mage.
Oh my god, yes!
Energy. All blood mages must pay the price of making skills cost life as well as mana. But in exchange, every monster they kill will drop life remnants, which allow them to quickly gain back that life. With Crimson Power, she can gain life.
This is what we wanted from, like, Diablo.
Life back as well.
Like, Diablo is literally falling behind right now.
You can use Gore Spike to make your critical hits deal incredible amounts of damage. A monk who is in tune with the elements might become an invoker.
Ooh.
The invoker will create waves of elemental power each time he does a critical strike. With faith
these
as a
VFX
choice,
are insane,
you gain
dude.
the ability to meditate, allowing
You
you
have
to
a
double
druid.
your energy shield.
There's a druid that's going to be coming to
Choose between
on
I am the
full
blizzard or
release.
I am the thunder to specialize in combat.
Mmm.
Part of the 6 classes.
And I shall rage will
I like this.
Showed in the trailers earlier, like during its like reveal trailers.
Each time you apply a status ailment to an enemy, you gain Unbound Fury. When you have enough, transform into an avatar to deal way more damage and inflict even more
Let me fix my avatar again. It's being really dumb.
Monks choose to reach into the darkness instead. The Acolyte of Chayula can exchange their mastery of spirit for darkness, a resource that can be utilized to absorb and
Holy shit, dude! Bro!
will protect you from all damage incoming. But if you take Grasp of the Void, you will deal extra chaos damage from all the darkness you have.
This is what we've wanted. Oh my god.
Resistances to
So
chaos
sick.
and can allow their mana
This is absolutely fucking amazing.
that applies to their energy shield as well. Another node you can take is Waking Dream, which allows you to see into the domain of the Breach Demons.
There we go. Sorry, I had it lower than I needed.
Chayula that can be taken to gain life, mana, and damage.
That's cool.
The Mercenary has a job to do, but which job suits you? You might choose to become a Witch Hunter,
Okay.
Oh!
allowing you to defend yourself against elemental hits in exchange for less defense against attacks.
Okay.
With Zealous Inquisition, your enemies have a 10% chance to explode on death. The chance is doubled against demons and undead. With Judge, Jury, and Executioner, your initial hit against enemies can deal up to 30% of their life and damage, if you're lucky. This is great for hunting powerful bosses. And with Witchbane, you can break your enemy's concentration, preventing them from casting spells as often as they would usually do. You could also choose to become a Gemling Legionnaire, enhancing your abilities by embedding gems directly in your flesh.
What? Yo, what?
Give you extra skill slots. Thermatological Infusion gives you extra maximum resistances as you
So
suck up more and more
cool,
support
dude.
gems.
It's so cool.
Adaptive
I'm
Ability
actually, like, I'm
lets you
getting
use any color of
chills.
gem without
Like,
worrying about attributes.
I'm getting
While
chills
Crystalline
watching this.
Potential adds extra quality bonuses to every gem socketed into your character. So those are the Ascendancy classes for the start of Early Access. But one thing we haven't talked about yet is how you ascend in the first place. Ascension in Path of Exile 2 requires completion of one of the Great Trials, which you'll find as you progress through the
Everything
campaign.
looks busted. I love it. I know.
Each one is associated
Well, that's
with
the-
one of
that's
major
the thing.
cultures of Rayclast. Located in the Vasteri Plains are the Maraketh, a culture of rich tales and brutal traditions who must do whatever it takes to survive in the desert. The highest position in Maraketh culture is a Sekima, and it is not a title given freely. All aspirants must complete the Trial of the Sekimas, a grueling gauntlet that will test their strength, will, cunning, and patience.
All right.
To enter, a warrior of the Maraketh must prove their worth by trapping the soul of a djinn in a coin, and you are no different.
Okay.
Once you have earned your coin, it may be placed in the
Alright, I
relic
gotta fix
altar
this
to
setting.
begin the trial.
There we go. All right, so this is the Trial of Ascension that they're doing this time.
In the Trial of the Sekimas, each room has its own challenges to
Was
overcome.
I really just impressed by a
In this
door
room,
opening?
Each rare
Yes,
monster
I
you kill
was.
will send its blood to the chalice in the center of the
This
room.
game's got nothing.
Once the chalice is filled,
Like, Diablo has nothing on this game, sorry.
while fighting monsters in the trial, you will need to be very careful. Each hit will not only hurt you, but will damage your honor. The monsters
Any
are
way
well
to hide the weird
telegraphed,
face
so
on
that
the
you can
left side
avoid
of
their
the
attacks. But if you run out of
screen?
honor,
Yeah,
you
you
will
go to a
fail the
different
trial
screen.
and need to find another coin in order to try again. It is a good idea to make sure that you are well prepared
You
for
just
challenging
roasted
the
that
Trial of
guy.
the Sekimas. After each room, you will be
That's
rewarded.
great.
In
Oh
this
my
case, you will be
god.
given a key that can be used to unlock
I
chests
gotta,
later
I'm
in the
opening a
trial.
Discord. My
Once
buddy
you have
gets
claimed
back.
your reward, you
I
will
like
be
how
shown a
dark
map
it
of
is,
the
both
rest of the
literally and
floor,
figuratively,
and may
yeah.
choose how you wish to
Oh,
proceed.
oh yeah,
Which
bro.
challenges would you like to
Hey,
face?
see the
And
problem
which
with the
rewards
with
do you want to claim?
Diablo,
Some rooms are more
it's
dangerous, inflicting you with
not
debuffs
not
that
there,
persist for the entire trial. For example, entering this room will afflict you with spiked shell that will cause all monsters in the rest of the trial to have 50% increased life.
Jesus.
You will want to take care if you choose certain
So they're taking what, like things from Diablo that they did good too, which is smart.
Deadly traps, waves of monsters.
Okay.
This is
Strange
an existing
artifacts will
mechanic
test your
from
honor.
PoE 1, right?
PoE,
As you
yeah.
progress, you'll be able to gain boons from the djinn, which will help you. on
This
your
has
journey.
changed though.
For example, the Sekima's cloak will revive you once if you die, giving you a second shot at a run. One of
This
the
is
rewards you
Labyrinth?
may find is sacred water, an extremely valuable and treasured resource to the djinn and to
Sanctum.
Maraketh.
That's what it is. That's the one I was
Trading
thinking
it
of.
with
It's
the
like
djinn
Sanctum.
will allow you to
That's the,
receive
it's like the
many
roguelike.
benefits. You can recover honor, gain additional boons, or remove afflictions. At the end of the floor, you'll find a powerful boss which will truly test your limitations. In order to ascend, you will need to defeat him.
Okay. That's cool shit. I like the boss. Like the bosses seem really
Having
good.
defeated the boss,
Like
you
I
earned the right to ascend.
I'm really
But
liking
first, the loot.
Yeah.
The keys you have found can be used to open the various crates in the vault at the end of the floor. We only have a single bronze key, so we'll just have to open one of these small chests. If you want to open the better ones, you'll need silver or gold keys.
That is so cool.
Let's use the altar
So
of
you don't
ascendancy.
just like fuck
First
yourself.
ascension will allow you to pick your class and grant you
It's
2
not
points
random.
to
You can
use in
choose
the
what you
tree.
want. That's good. That's
Now,
nice.
There are more floors and many more rewards that can be found within the Trial of the Sekimas, but we'll save that for the section on the endgame. Now, let's talk
Oh.
about the second ascendancy trial.
Oh, they have
Trial of
endgame
Chaos.
content.
In Path of Exile 2, you can choose whichever trial you like to earn
Bro,
your
that's
ascension. Each
beautiful.
culture on Rayclast had their own methods to ascend. If the Trial of the Sekimas is not your kind of playstyle, or you're finding it too difficult, you could try another. You can gain all
Okay.
your ascension points from just one, or mix and match them. It's up to
Oh
you.
my god.
For early access, we will have 2 trials as options, with a third
Bro,
trial
I got
remaining for full release.
goosebumps. I have literal
Exploring
goosebumps.
the Vaal jungle, you'll discover the Temple of Chaos. Before the Vaal embraced the science of corruption, their civilization worshipped chaos. This ancient trial was once
Here it is.
Existence is a thing of
No, that's not it. Fuck. Okay, we're just gonna keep watching him for now, because like I can't.
potential. He shall inscribe
can't
an
find it.
ultimatum.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Oh.
Many have attempted these trials in search
So
of
you can
greatness.
basically do
Most have
Sanctum
perished.
or Ultimatum
Will you
to
be
do
able to
your
defy the odds? Before you begin
That
to
is
choose your
sick.
ascension,
That's
the
so
Trial Master
cool.
will offer you a reward and a choice. Choose one of 3 tribulations to affect you through the rest of the trial. These modifiers might
Right, I
be from
gotta
the
make this
monsters,
bigger for you
curse the
guys.
player, or add environmental hazards like turrets or trap runes. In this case, we'll be picking shocking turrets.
This is so
As you
cool.
enter the room, the
And they're
trial
gonna add a
master will
third one.
fill it with hazards to test
just-
your commitment. In this case,
Cool
you must
is an
destroy all the
understatement.
monsters that fill the room, while dealing with the lack of
Badass
results
is a
from the
better
shocking
term.
turrets.
This is so fucking badass.
I just like that they set up this game to make sure that you get to play it however you want to play it. Rather than it being some like pre-designed, this is the only way to play the game and you have to play it the way that we designed it. Instead, they're just like, you know, ascend however you want, play the end game however you want, you know, play the game however you want, basically. It's so good, dude.
Well, what I'm gonna add on to that, it's really cool that they did this, because like it seems like they're taking the Elden Ring philosophy for game design here and just like use everything at your disposal. Just use everything you have. It's amazing.
We'll find out.
That'd be cool.
Tribulation you add is minor on its own, but they quickly stack on top of each other and can become overwhelming. There are many types of chambers in the trial. Each will test your resolve in different ways. This one simply requires you survive for a certain amount of time.
I found out something about PoE. We're going to talk about it after this.
First 3 chambers, you will face your first boss. The order of the bosses is random, and combined with the tribulations you have selected, the fight will never feel the same. After defeating the boss, you may claim your rewards. Of course, there are the items, but you also gain the right to ascend. If you already did the trial of the second,
I just love the look of the game,
2 more points.
I love the detail of the maps, the characters, the abilities.
Now, it's possible to go much deeper. There are more bosses, rewards, and risks to take, but we'll talk more about that when we get to endgame. So how about we talk about that now?
Okay.
So far, we've only been showing you footage from the campaign, but some people would argue that the endgame is where the game truly begins. Something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying, there isn't enough endgame content. Well, we want to make sure that in PoE 2, people don't feel that way.
I wonder where they heard that from.
We actually only changed our development priority for this recently. The first 3 acts of PoE 2 already take around 25 hours to complete if you're a new player. This is already a pretty significant campaign. On the other hand, people spend hundreds of hours in endgame each league. We realized that finishing the rest of the campaign for early access was actually a bad idea. Instead of having acts 4 to 6 in early access, we could concentrate on endgame and make that great. For new players, a 25-hour campaign is already a huge game with lots of content. But for existing action RPG players, what you mostly care about is all the in-game challenges to overcome.
Genius.
So several months ago, we switched the entire development team's focus over to making
How do you
in-game
keep
content.
making the right choice?
At the start of early access, there will be 50 bosses and around 400 monster types. But the great thing is,
AAA
the rest
in
of the game
shambles.
is like 80% there. We'll be adding content to roughly double the size of the game during early access and into release. Now, in order to make the endgame happen at the same character level as what it would be after we added the rest of the acts, we've added a second difficulty level called Cruel, where you repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses leveled up.
Cool.
And of course, new rewards.
Cool.
You can kind of think of it as like a new game plus. It's also a lot faster to get through the content the second time as your clear speed increases. That will take you to around level 65, where the endgame begins. Once we add the remaining 3 acts, we'll be removing Cruel difficulty, so you'll progress straight from the end of Act 6 to endgame.
Very cool.
But what is the endgame? To explain that, I'll hand over to Mark. He can tell you all about it.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile 2. Well, one thing that Path of Exile is known for is having a lot of distinct endgame content to choose between. Each endgame mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be gained from that content. We are going to be adding a lot more over time, but for Path of Exile 2 we decided to start with 7 distinct systems you can progress through.
The man
This
responsible
is
for
the
making
Atlas,
digital crap.
and it serves as the core of the endgame for Path of Exile 2. It's infinite and expands in all directions. Now, we are not going to spoil the plot too much here, but corruption from the beast has blighted the land, and your objective is to help fight it. In the center of the Atlas you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in which the Val research the fundamentals of space and time. Here, we can open portals to nearby locations and begin cleansing corruption and finding resources. In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones. Each waystone has a tier which will determine the level of the monsters that you will face. To go to an area, simply click one that is adjacent to an area that you have already completed. Insert the waystone and click Traverse. Portals will open, allowing you and your party to travel to the area you have selected. All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign, and we have dialed the randomization up to 11. The monster packs you will face in each map are totally random, and the combination of them can lead to some very interesting combat situations. There are over 400 monster types in early access, and they have a lot of varied and interesting abilities. Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some serious challenges.
Okay.
In order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will need to defeat all the powerful rare and unique enemies in it. Once you have done that, the area will be marked as completed and you will be able to travel past it to progress deeper into the world. If you die, then the map can no longer be run, and you will have to find another way around to get to the areas behind it. There are also all kinds of other random encounters you might run into as you play maps. One such encounter are precursor artifacts. These are ancient, corrupting monuments that irradiate the monsters around them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat the monsters and cleanse the artifact, you will get a powerful temporary buff. Some of the buffs make you faster, others rain lightning or fire around you, and some even give you increased experience or help you find better items. You can also find strong boxes. These enigmatic chests guard piles of treasure, but are always a trap. Monsters lie in wait to attack you the moment you open it, and the boxes often have
I
mechanisms
just love
to
that there's like so
unleash
many
powerful
things
spells
that they
or
can
dangerous
reuse from
debuffs.
PoE 1 that
There are
still make
different
it
types
like
of strong boxes containing different items, and you can even use your currency
just because
items
they're
to
like
craft
such
them on
well
the
done
fly,
mechanics.
so you can optimize the contents. But be careful of opening one you can't handle.
It's so cool. So it fogs the map and you
Sometimes
can't
you'll
even see
discover
where the
monsters
enemies are coming
frozen
from.
in essences, solidified crystalline corruption. These dangerous monsters can be broken free. If you defeat them, the essence they drop can be used to upgrade normal items to magic items with a guaranteed mod from a category.
Very cool.
For example, we could use this one on some boots to ensure a movement speed mod. Rarely, essences will also
That works
drop
the
that
same
allow
way
you
as
to upgrade
Exorcist in the
magics to
first one, right?
rares,
But
adding
maybe a
the
little bit more
guaranteed mod.
focused.
This is incredibly powerful since it allows you to get a second deterministic mod in your crafting projects. Combining these with the currencies that are commonly found in Rayclast for
What
modifying
cooked us a
items,
quadruple,
and we can get a
quadruple
very
meal.
nice pair of
More
boots
like
indeed.
more like a fucking 5-course meal.
Waystones, like all items, can also be crafted using your currency items. Adding prefix mods will improve the rewards, while suffix mods increase danger. The more dangerous a map is, the more waystones will drop. Adding mods to your waystones is key to progressing to
second.
higher tiers and sustaining them, but it will require you to take on larger challenges. There are a variety of factors you have to consider when crafting your waystones. Some maps will have higher density, some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters, some are more linear, and others more open. Make sure you explore and think about what makes certain maps good if you want to maximize your returns. As you cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can spend in the Atlas tree. This tree allows you to juice the danger and rewards of all areas in the endgame. You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares, the number of precursor artifacts or strongboxes, even the quantity of item drops. As you explore the endgame world map, you'll notice various different biomes, from snow-capped mountains to dense jungle valleys. Most maps are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover.
They're
These
so
cities
huge.
are constructed by different peoples of Rayclast and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition, you can find special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp. Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants, and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your own personal base of operations. A great tool for exploration are towers. These mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the Atlas. Completing the tower will reveal a large area around it, allowing you to scout out your next challenge. There are lots of things to find, so keep looking. Some sections of your Atlas are influenced by corruption. This adds extra modifiers to the maps in the region, increasing difficulty and rewards. Here, slaying monsters in close proximity to each other will cause the vestiges of corruption within them to merge together, forming powerful and grotesque abominations. You may have noticed while looking at the atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map boss, we are able to make them very powerful and very rewarding. These bosses come from the campaign.
I like
have
that.
Their difficulty increased with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid them. If you do choose to hunt bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special points for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree. The points here will allow you to specialize in boss killing, giving you much greater rewards for defeating them. For each different type of content in the endgame, we are adding specialized trees in order to make it so you don't feel the need to respec your points when you change between different types of content. We will be showing you 7 of these by the end of this presentation, so there is still a lot more to come. Bosses are not the only icon you will see on the Atlas. Let's take a look at one of the endgame systems, Breach. If you played PoE 1, you might be familiar with Breach. For PoE 2, we have created sequels to several PoE 1 leagues. While the mechanic is familiar, the monsters, bosses, rewards, and progression are all new. A breach is a tear in the fabric of reality. Opening it will allow you to see the demons and otherworldly monstrosities that lie in wait on this other plane of existence. By engaging
I only
with a
just till
breach,
recently
you'll
figured
create a
out what
bridge
this mechanic
between their
actually
world
is.
and Rayclust.
In
order to keep the
PoE
breach
1.
open, you will need to kill the demons that pour forth. The faster you can kill the monsters, the more monsters you will fight, and the more loot you will find. You can also find clasped hands that will open and drop more items if you run over them. These can be a good boost to the rewards of the breach, so keep an eye out. One of the rewards that you may find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets. Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers to add more encounters to the Atlas. Breaches will drop breach tablets. Clicking on a completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more breaches to areas within range of the
Very
tower.
cool.
This makes all the content in the Atlas self-sustaining.
I love
Want
the
to do
idea of
more
a
breaches?
customizable
Find the
endgame.
tablets, add them to your towers, get more breaches, getting more tablets. Soon your Atlas will be covered in otherworldly domains. In addition, like all items in PoE, you can craft them. Use your currency to add mods to your tablets, allowing you to upgrade all the breaches in range. Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like adding extra rare monsters, extra clasped hands, or even monster density of breaches, allowing you to
I
keep
saw
them
one
open
for extra
longer.
experience
Often
gain
you
as
will
well.
find multiple
That's cool.
towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to really juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets.
Oh,
In
okay.
your fight to hold the breach demons at bay, you
Okay.
may want to use the powers of their world against them. Each endgame mechanic always has player power that can only be gained from that mechanic, and Breach is no different. In Breach, you will find catalysts, items that can increase the quality of rings and amulets by improving specific mobs. You can also find Breach Rings, a special base type that can have its quality improved by catalysts up to 50%. In this case, you could create a ring with around 170 life. Breach Rings can become some of the strongest rings in the game, giving you some good motivation to face the demon hordes. In addition, each endgame mechanic needs to have a pinnacle endgame encounter. While killing breach monsters, you may find breach splinters. Collect enough of these and you'll be able to create a breach stone. Using a Vaal technology called the Realm Gate, you can use your breach stone to access their domain and bring the fight to them. In this twisted domain, you will find nothing but a single massive breach. Triggering it will reveal hordes of breach inhabitants. And should you be fast enough, you will be able to fight their leader, Zesht. We that are one.
Yo. Why is it that, like, hands for wings is so unsettling to look at? Like, it's oddly nightmare-inducing.
This is just one of the pinnacle encounters of PoE 2. We won't be showing the rest of them, so you will have to discover them for yourself.
I
But
love the
rest assured,
complexity of
this
mechanics.
is some of the hardest content we have ever made. All these encounters have specific uniques that can only be found from them, but that's not all. We still have the progression system. Defeating Zesht will give you points to allocate into the breach section of the Atlas tree. Allocating these points will make breaches and the breach domain even harder, but will give you more rewards. The small nodes will increase the difficulty of the twisted domain, while the large nodes have more specific bonuses. For example, this node adds more clasped hands to your breaches, and adds a pack of magic monsters that can guard them. Get some more points and you can allocate Waking Nightmare, which will double the number of splinters you get from clasped hands, and inflict you with a mysterious debuff. In order to earn more points, you will need to defeat Zesht at a higher difficulty, and some rewards from Zesht can only be found by increasing the difficulty of the Twisted Domain above certain thresholds. Defeating Zesht at difficulty 4 will be a challenge indeed, but there are many more threats and
One tap. Full health. Yikes.
Ritual altars are sacrificial sites built by the mysterious King in the Mists. If you encounter this symbol on the Atlas, then you know that the area contains ritual altars. Ritual altars demand tribute. Every monster you slaughter in the circle will feed the altar. After the sacrifice, touch it to begin the ritual. The monsters you just killed will be resurrected by the King of the Mist's dark magic, and you must fight to survive. The tribute you have offered to the altar can be spent to buy powerful items, but they can be expensive. To gain more tribute, you will want to
Pizza Hut's handcrafted crust. Light, airy, so you can pizza and repeat pizza again and again.
Metacrafting. Crafting items that affect other crafting items. Have an item with good prefixes but bad suffixes? This omen will help you to remove the mod you don't want, while keeping the ones you do. There are a bunch more of these with different effects, but we'll leave them for you to discover. Now don't forget that Ritual will also drop tablets, which can be used to specialize into getting more rituals. If you want to get to the pinnacle boss of Ritual, then you will probably want to use them. They can also be crafted to grant mods, making your rituals more rewarding. The pinnacle encounter of Ritual is the King in the Mists. Feared by the Azmeri people, he is said to have brought eternal darkness to the Wildwood. We won't show the encounter, but just like Breach, there are a range of unique interest in you. Step through the looking glass and you will find your nightmares coming to life. When you touch a mirror, the mists of delirium will spread out across the area, infecting your mind. You must stay within the mist to maintain the nightmare, which is as profitable as it is terrifying. Everything you kill will increase the rewards that drop. However, the deeper into the mist you travel, the stronger the monsters are. Be careful not to overstay your welcome. Rare and unique enemies will become vessels for terrifying demons, who will manifest out of them to unleash powerful attacks on strange crafting material, distilled emotions. By combining these emotions, you are able to instill your amulet with a notable from the passive skill tree. This is like gaining an extra passive point for free, attached to your gear. They are also particularly great because you don't have to traverse the tree to get them, allowing you to get off-class bonuses that would normally be much harder to get. Distilled emotions can also be used to instill your endgame map. Dissipate slower, or improve your progress towards the pinnacle encounter of Delirium. Speaking of which, every encounters based on warped versions of your own memories. Monsters and simulacrums come in waves that get progressively more difficult. You will receive loot at the end of each wave, and you will
555. Where else can you get pizza for $5? Only at Pizza Hut.
help dig them up with explosives. The cowgirl Veterans have marked the locations where the relics can be found. Place explosives as best you can to dig up as many as possible. There is just one problem. Corruption but also more rewarding. Danig, Rog, Tujin, and Gwenin will exchange the artifacts for useful items and runic magic. You can also find tablets to increase the number of expeditions and the rewards. This one these are special maps full of essentially one giant dig site. Here you can create an extremely long chain of explosives and go through a very high number of remnants. But be careful, many remnants have mods that can really brick your build, so you will probably want to avoid these ones. If you add too many remnants, you could easily make the encounter harder than you can handle. There are all sorts of interesting things buried under the ground in logbooks. You might find dripping caves and hidden pirate caches. But the most powerful encounter is Olroth, the ancient undead commander of the Knights of the Sun. Defeating him will grant you unique rewards, as well as points to spend in the expedition section of the Atlas tree. So those are the in-game systems on the Atlas, but we are not done yet. The trials we talked about earlier have much more content when you get to endgame too. Just like the other endgame systems, they also have progression mechanics, unique rewards, and player power that can only be gained from them. As you get higher level coins for the Trial of the Sycamores, you will unlock more floors to explore. Each floor has its own challenging rooms and a floor boss that you will need to kill. There are 4 floors in total, leading to another pinnacle boss at the end of the last floor, which can only be accessed at endgame. The Trial of the Sycamores is where you items. They can be really powerful as they allow you to stack modifiers that may not be easily accessible on the tree normally. This jewel gives lightning damage and shock chance, for example. There are quite a few jewel sockets on the tree, so it's possible to gain a lot of power here. There are also other types of jewels that don't provide any bonuses themselves, but affect other passives surrounding them. This jewel increases the effect of small nodes and radius by 25%. With careful placement in the tree, you could get a significant amount of power from it. There are also unique jewels available with very interesting effects, but you will have to find those for yourself. In order to push further into the trial and uncover the secrets of the Maraketh, you will want to take advantage of its progression system, relics. Relics are items that can be placed in the relic altar as you start the trial. They give special bonuses that affect the trial, making it easier and increasing its rewards. Of course, you can craft these with your currency items, making them even stronger. If you can complete the entire trial overcoming all 4 floors, the final boss will reward you with one of many unique relics. These relics will be consumed when used on your next run, but can reward you with unique and powerful items. For example, this is the Last Flame. If you use it, you will have only 1 honor for the entire trial, so you will need to do a completely hitless run. The Trial of Chaos also extends into the endgame. As you gain inscribed ultimatums of higher and higher levels, the number of chambers that you can go through increases. In true Vaal style, this allows you to take even more risks for even more rewards. At endgame, you can progress through up to 10 chambers with 3 bosses on a single run. Stacking 10 tribulations on top of each other will make this a significant challenge, but it's worth it. The Trial Master will tempt you with items of the Vaal Empire, such as Vaal Orbs. Vaal Orbs are powerful crafting items that corrupt your gear with random mysterious outcomes. Corruption prevents an item from being modified further, so it has to be the last step of your craft. But it's also the most impactful one. For example, if you use one on your body armor, it might add a new powerful enchantment, or it might re-roll up to half of its modifiers. Vaal Orbs also have the ability to add a socket, allowing you to bypass the normal restriction of how many sockets an item can have. A body armor could get up to 3 sockets this way, allowing for a significant number of mods. Vaal Orbs can even modify uniques. Adding enchantments or sockets to uniques can make them incredibly powerful, but there is a good chance that you will break them as well. The Trial Master will also occasionally offer you soul cores. Originally formed by Chaos, the Vaal sought to replicate soul cores through human sacrifice rituals and blood magic to power their civilization. Soul cores are powerful socketable items, with mods that cannot be obtained from regular runes. Like all in-game content, there is of course a pinnacle boss. The final chamber will drop keys to this mysterious door. Some say this is where the Trial Master himself resides. Perhaps you are willing to take the risk to find out. Had enough yet? Because there is still just one more thing. The most difficult content in Path of Exile 2. While mapping, you might come across this fortress that has emerged from underground, surrounded by an enormous maze riddled with danger. Is the maze preventing something from getting in, or something getting out? This fortress is of ancient origin, and its construction has similarities to the towers and tablets that you have been using on your journey through the endgame. It is clear from the entrance that there are 3 keys required to enter. Local factions are vying for access to the fortress in order to seize the power they believe will be inside. Each of the faction's leaders have managed to get their hands on one of the keys, so you will need to defeat them. Each faction is led by an Uber-Act boss. You can see one of them inhabiting the city, but in order to fight him, you will first need to defeat their 2 lieutenants in the adjacent zones. Be careful. If you fail against either of the lieutenants, or to kill the leader, they will move on, and you will need to find them again. Kill all the Uber bosses and you will gain access to the fortress. We aren't going to spoil it, as we can't wait to see you guys attempt it for the first time. But is there a tree you get points in after killing it? Of course there is. This is Path of Exile. There is always another tree.
So these are your challenges for PoE 2. As you can see, this project is crazy huge. Way bigger than even we expected when we started out. But how do you gain access? Well, during early access you'll need a key to get in. To thank our existing PoE supporters who have spent more than $480 US, we'll be giving you guys a key for the PC version for free. Anyone else who wants one can get one by purchasing one of the new early access supporter packs that have just been released to the store. If you just want early access to PoE 2, then you can get a key in the $30 US early access pack. The pack also comes with $30 of points to spend in the MTX store. But we also have a variety of other supporter packs filled with exclusive microtransactions, points to spend in the store, and even physical items. The cosmetics can be used right now in PoE 1 and in Path of Exile 2 when early access starts. Most of this footage has been recorded in Path of Exile 1, since that's where you can use them immediately. The Lord of Ogham supporter pack contains a cosmetic armor set befitting of the Count of Ogham himself. There is also a matching back attachment which has an alternate variant depicting the influence of corruption. Also in this pack you can find a portal formed of the rusted armor of the fallen soldiers in the Red Vale of Ogham, and the offspring of a vicious crowbell boss found in the hunting grounds. This one doesn't look so vicious though. On top of that, you'll receive the Iron Count's Y-hander to apply to your one-handed or two-handed swords.
Give that to me. I want it. I want it.
With fond memories and tales of Path of Exile's history, you will also get a series of hideout statues. This pack contains the statue of Hillock. For Path of Exile 1's closed beta, each pack contains a true New Zealand icon, the Kiwi. Following this tradition, all packs in this series will also contain a new themed Kiwi pet. The pet will loyally follow you into battle, but run away at the first sign of trouble.
Oh my god, I love it.
Become the ruler of the desert with the King of the Faradin supporter pack. Show your mastery of traversing the sands of the Vasteri Plains. The body armor will allow you to glide along the ground with ancient sand magic. Now each armor
that is horrifying. I love their design.
But the boots are covered in sand. If you'd prefer to show them off, you can turn the gliding off if you want.
Nah, fuck that.
The accompanying back attachment equips you with 2 powerful pillars that can control and manipulate lightning. They will periodically release their energy in a powerful blast while in town, and hover in a circle around you, arcing lightning between them, forming a barrier of energy. Replace the appearance of any bow with the Faradin's glory skin.
Bro, just look at that. That's horrifying. What the fuck?
End spear skin. This spear skin can be applied to staves and war staves in Path of Exile 1. If you want to truly show your worth as a king of the Faradin, then you definitely need your trusty, moving, entire city fortress known as the Dreadnought to travel across the Vasteri Plains. In Path of Exile, you can decorate your hideout however you like, and it's no exception here. It comes with a variety of thematic elements to use, or use decorations from elsewhere in the game.
That is actually so cool.
Additionally, you will get the Deshret's blessing level up effect. The King of the Faradin Kiwi pet, And last but not least, a statue depicting the Val Oversoul from Path of Exile 1.
Oh my god.
For those who don't know how supporter packs work, each pack comes with all of the cosmetics from the previous tier, so you'll get all the items from the Lord of Ogham supporter pack as well.
I really want these. This is so cool.
Themed around the Val and their pursuit of science and progress. You can find the soul core weapon effect in this
they
pack,
have better designs than Diablo 4. Like their designs, like they really go so hard. Like look at this. Like
and this can be applied to shields in Path of Exile 1. That's not the only Val weapon you'll find. It also contains the Wand of the Thaumaturge skin.
So good.
And the Royal Sacrifice Dagger skin. You wouldn't think to put sacrificial gems on a Kiwi, but the Val did. Thaumaturge of the Val supporters will receive the Thaumaturge of the Val Kiwi pet. And the Statue of Dominus. This is also the first pack in the series with a physical item.
I really want
In
that.
this pack, you'll receive a Path of Exile 2 logo t-shirt.
What?
But if you don't want one, you can opt out in return for additional points to spend in the store.
No, give me the shirt.
Becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter will grant you an armor set and back attachment adorned in jade carvings and iridescent feathers resembling power. Enough to even impress the ancestral gods, specifically Tukohama, the Karui god of war.
Bro, I remember killing that guy.
Overkill, you say? I think the Karui people would disagree. Why not drop a gigantic totem on rare enemies you slay to crush them to a pulp?
That is so
Replace
cool.
your crafting bench in your hideout with the Ancestral Canoe crafting bench, where Ancestral Chief Mata will summon a giant canoe manned by Karui warriors to aid in your crafting desires.
I like I respected the commitment to the design there.
You'll also get a pair of weapon skins. Equip Akoya's Felling Axe skin to your one-hand or
I do like the
two-handed
axe.
maces.
I don't like the armor very much.
Tukohama's Crusher to your one-handed or two-handed maces.
Not a big fan of the jade color.
A true Karui warlord is always accompanied by their trusty Kiwi.
I do like it.
Equipped with
Like
armor
it's
and harnessing ancestral magic.
just not me.
They make the perfect sidekick. Once one of the most feared beings in Rayclast, Malachi was slain by a powerful exile. May the
I
statue
do want
commemorate
that.
The virtue of exile's past, present, and of the future. Of course, it's not all about dressing up in game. You'll want to look good in real life too. By becoming a Warlord of the Karui supporter, you'll also get a Path of Exile 2 hoodie. Our final tier of supporter pack in this series is the Liberator of Rayclast.
That
supporter
is
pack.
what I want.
The Liberator of Rayclast armor set and back attachment come made with the finest
Like,
materials in
goddamn.
Rayclast. And
That's a
shattered
paladin
glass
fantasy right there.
suspended in divine power. Set up your base of operations in the Beacon of Salvation hideout. Why restrict yourself to just one island when you can liberate more? The Beacon of Salvation hideout comes equipped with your own collection of small islands and personal operators of boats that you can use to row between them. Just walk to the piers, click a boat to enter, and navigate as you choose. Decorate each island as you see fit to best represent your well-earned hideout.
Oh my god, you can just.
Everyone in your hideout can use their own boat.
Oh my
Why not have some
god.
races? You can also get the window to
Oh
Twilight
my
portal.
god, that's
A
awesome.
beautiful mosaic piece of art that shatters and reveals a gateway to your desired destination as you approach it. As you walk away, the glass magically reforms back to its original form. Rule in style with the throne of the ruler
I'm
map
stealing
device.
that.
Sure. this
I'm
might break
stealing
the
that
rules
design
of
because like
maps.
one of the
Also comes with a
bosses or
throne
well, one of the
set up to oversee your
characters
growing kingdom. Look down on the
he
planet
has a
running your
ziggurat he
roads.
chills in all the time. I was wondering like what's the best way for him to like travel around? I'm like
If you
because
do
like
decide to join the
they
fight
ban
yourself,
magic in
you
this
can leave a high
universe
priest in
except
charge,
for like
second in command.
what's inscripted in the military. It's very Warhammer inspired.
Weapon skins.
Very Path of Exile. It's very dark universe, like very
The
twisted.
Deliverance crossbow skin,
Good stuff.
the Justice flail skin, and the Redemption shield skin.
Oh my god, that shield is so nice.
Once again, you'll have an accompanying Kiwi, and of course a statue depicting one
That
of the most
Kiwi.
iconic events
Give
in
me the Kiwi.
Raycast's history. The battle between a powerful exile and Kitava, the Insatiable.
Kitava.
With the help of two deities, Sin and Innocence, the exile was able to defeat him once and for all. This supporter pack also contains the Path of Exile 2 art book. This 215-page full-color art book includes a huge amount of amazing concept art and lore produced during the long and exciting journey
Oh
of
my
Path of Exile 2's
god.
development.
That is so oh my
And
god.
finally, Path of Exile has a tradition of letting the community participate in designing game features. For Path of Exile 2, we'll be adding the Twilight Order Foil Reliquary.
What is this?
By becoming a Liberator of Rayclass supporter, Once Path of Exile 2 is released, you will be able to select any unique item you have found and be able to drop it from the reliquary. Once players have submitted their items, keys to the reliquary will start dropping, and other players will be able to find foil versions of uniques that you have submitted, along with a message for the lucky player.
Oh my god, that is so cool!
Chances there will be for the reliquary to drop them. So
that is how you incorporate other players in like the community in a game while still like making it your own game as a developer. Like that is
such as crossbows or flails. And there are also a few microtransactions on weapon types that are unavailable in PoE 2 at the start of early access. Once classes that use those weapon types are added, those microtransactions will be available to use. If you can't decide which supporter pack to choose yet, you can always start with the early access supporter pack that just includes a key and some points to spend in the store. Then you can upgrade to any of the following tiers at a later date. These supporter packs will be available for purchase throughout early access.
wow.
We'd really like to thank you for your
Okay, we're gonna be playing a lot more PoE in Genshin because like the developers are actually doing W's right now.
I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions. Stick around because coming up next we have a live Q&A with Ziggy D.
What? No. No. Holy okay, wow. Wow.
To the post-show discussion and Q&A. I hope you all enjoy.
This is insane.
It's been pretty exciting for us here as well.
Pretty exciting. You guys are blowing it out of the water. Like all my expectations have been completely.
You've got to do design whenever you can.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's been a few fun moments here.
I would love to work for these guys.
Ziggy D, and I'm joined by Jonathan and Mark to talk about everything you've seen. Honestly, it's so much.
I mean, we were really keen to make sure that when we went into early access that people didn't feel like it was just, you know, limping along and kind of, you know, just like a minimal amount of content. We really wanted to kind of blow people away. So hopefully people feel like, yeah, there is enough content. Because, yeah.
Hopefully.
It was certainly a mission to get all that stuff in.
Yeah, I did come here expecting that there would be, you know, maybe a basic mapping, placeholder end game, and your 3 acts and, you know, the half the classes. But you've made a decision here clearly that's got to go the core PoE player community in mind.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we have to make sure, like, I mean, look, Path of Exile's endgame is kind of known for the fact that you get to choose between different types of content and that, like, you know, some people enjoy one thing, some people enjoy another. And I feel like that choice is like a huge part of what makes it good. So if we didn't have that when we entered endgame, then I don't think that would be, you know, like that wouldn't be a Path of Exile endgame.
He's so right. He's so right.
Kind of what we have to make sure of. So we kind of said, okay, well, like, what is the minimum number of like different in-game things you need to be able to have in order to be able to actually have a viable in-game that you feel like you get different choices, and that's how we ended up with what we have here.
I definitely feel like a lot of games nowadays release, you know, and their campaigns intact and real good. You get to the end game and it just falls real flat.
Yeah.
And it was certainly a very important moment.
I wonder what he's talking about, guys. I wonder what he's talking about.
Like, let's not
I wonder.
Else, let's pivot, and we actually did that, and like it made a world of difference, and made the game all of a sudden, you know, 100 times bigger with an infinite amount more content, right?
It was definitely hard though, because like, okay, like it's like we're you know, we're progressing. It's like we would have made it. We would have gotten, you know, all these acts in if we hadn't have changed direction. It's like to actually say, you know what, we're going to specifically not finish this content that we'll be working on, you know, that we you know, it's like pens down everyone, we're stopping work on this, we're going to move over to endgame because it's actually more important. Like that was certainly a hard one.
That would have been some whiplash there, I imagine.
For sure. Well, I mean, it's like suddenly the whole, you know, like environment art team, it's like, you know, they're all just like, whatever you're working on, just scrap. You don't want to scrap, but you know. Like,
Well, put it on the back burner for now. We need to redirect where our priorities are right now, and that
developers have just been working on this campaign for
doing that was the smartest decision they've ever done.
I think it's even longer actually.
Yeah, it's like just this epic journey. Whereas none of them, you know, a lot of these people haven't been working on Path of Exile 1 this whole time. So some of us are like, you know, we're just churning out endgame with every league and doing all of that. But for a lot of these people, a lot of these developers, yeah, it was quite jarring to swap over. But everyone embraced it. You know, we talked about it. Everyone was happy about it and stoked about it, and it just ended up coming out real awesome. So
I think it's landed well, and it definitely kind of blew me away when you. So even before I saw anything, we were in the car on the drive here, and you were just info dumping all of the end game. You're like, oh, we got this feature, we got this feature. I'm getting dopamine just from hearing about it. I haven't even seen anything yet. But do you guys feel like you're competing against yourselves a little bit here? Because Path of Exile's kind of set the bar. The original game has set the bar for what is available to endgame in a game like this, and it makes it's not acceptable really to launch with just nothing in terms of endgame now.
Absolutely. I mean, I mean, like if you're not competing with yourself, then I don't think you're going to make good progress, right? So that's what you really have to do.
Yeah, but cracking that out for beta even.
Yep, absolutely.
Well,
As I said, I just think it would not have landed nearly as well without that. And I think it's important that our existing Path of Exile 1 community feels like they're also served. Like, yeah, sure, we're doing all this stuff for
Yeah,
players. And
that with all the microtransactions and everything they're doing there, they're really
if we launch
helping
and
with
all
that.
the PoE1 players are unhappy, that wouldn't be good. So you know, we have to make sure that they also feel.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Players we hope to bring to the genre.
Is he actually catering to both player bases?
As well.
What?
Just having two, right? You'll get a lot of content can be immediately divisive, right?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And so you have all of these different avenues because there are different players who like different types of content.
Yeah.
So if you're just like, here's your one end game system, well, immediately then there is a portion of players who are just like, I don't want this, right? And so having all of these options is like ultra key, and that is what Path of Exile 1 has taught us. And again, it's like, I'd say lessons learned, you know, for the genre, and it is expanding in other games and stuff, but yeah, certainly, as you said, competing with ourselves, yes, PoE 1 has like, you know, 40 axes, you know, and we've got 7 really good ones here, and obviously more to come, but 7 is a lot, mind you.
Especially when it's all like, you know, like people are doing a lot of things again.
Wow. Wow.
It's very interesting to see how
Wow.
people to do the kind of difficulty 4 pinnacle content. It's like we have it. Yeah, we have to. It's honestly like we actually.
I'm shaking with excitement, guys.
What people are going to find in terms of builds and so on. Like I'm hoping that it will take people a while to be able to work it out. But you know, you never know. Maybe end of day 1, people just be like, oh yeah, easy, no problem, mate. You know, could be what it's like.
We have a few people that are doing that sort of thing. I saw like a solo self found level 100 in 24 hours or something.
Jeez. Okay, we got this. Is where we've got it now, is it?
Oh my god.
So I imagine there'll be a little bit of a soft reset there for people. A relearning period.
There's stuff to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, PoE 2 has changed a lot over the years, so more than 5 years.
PoE. Oh, okay. Yeah. What he's talking to development.
When PoE 2 was first put forwards, like as to what it's going to be, because it was much smaller in scope originally.
Yeah. So when we started, it wasn't even a sequel. It was just we're just updating the character rigs. And over time, it kind of feature creeped into like a proper sequel. But the thing that we were saying is, whenever we were talking about it, and I guess this is the main thing, is that we're like, okay, when we make an area here, it needs to be that there's like a theme for it. It feels unique from everything else. We're not going to just like have recycled stuff like within the campaign that just feels like, oh, you know, we just took this area and modified it slightly. You know, each one's got to have its own stuff. It's got to have monsters that were like carefully thought about, that like, you know, fit in with the world, and it's got to have bosses that are actually like good tier quality. You know, and every area is going to have one.
Wow.
And so those.
It's like they've learned from other people's mistakes.
Things that have meant that. They really raised the quality bar to a level that took us way longer than we even really expected. Like those things there, just like it's huge, right? Like honestly, I feel like we underestimated significantly what it would take to deliver that level of quality.
I remember really early on, a battle I fought for, and I mean like way back, was like, if you think back to say Diablo 2, which obviously still holds a lot of, you know, power.
We're not going to watch the whole interview. I just want to hear what the first thoughts are here, just to let you guys know. But
and PoE 1 did them, and it's just like, here's a boss with 1 or 2 skills. And I remember very, very, very early on in PoE 2, I'm like, I want every single boss to be memorable. And
I gotta make a video on this week, like tonight, just to talk about this, because this is insane.
And I remember, I mean, I even got some push. I remember getting some pushback at the time and thinking like, you know, I love the bosses, my favorite part of everything, and so I was just like, man, I don't want this. This is just terrible. But of course, that decision, me pushing for that, me wanting that, turned into this megalithic. Now we have 50, aiming to be 100. Honestly, probably later, several more 100 once all the games, everything starts to evolve and more expansions comes out. And I'm like, yep, we maybe just made, you know, 100 times more work for ourselves, but 100% bloody worthwhile, because I'd say those bosses are one of the main, you know, attraction pieces of the game. And
100%. 100%.
Holy crap, those boss fights are amazing. So like,
we're gonna watch 2 more minutes of this, but
and all that,
Wow.
fun, but it is true that me pushing for that thing literally created thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of work. Now, worthwhile work, but it is again that exact thing.
I'm seeing what chat's saying here.
Kind of small on numerous axes, and as we just raised the quality bar to what we thought was good, it certainly went from, you know, what was it initially, just reskinning some character classes and new rigs or whatever, into this like mega scale entire campaign, everything. But
full standalone separate game. Yeah.
Fun other anecdote since we went out of that territory. It was originally codenamed Project Chimera.
What?
Oh.
It was this pipe dream.
I've never been a fan of these code name things
It was
like that.
it was this like there were times way back in the original Office. There was all this like. Sometimes there'll be a feature you can't really do in PoE 1, and it was always like, we'll do it in Project Chimera. That was like amongst the developers, and people were like, what the heck is that? Now, ironically, there is a boss in Act 3 called, well, it's got a different name, but it's called the Chimera internally. It is a Chimera. It's a multi-headed beast, and you've seen a few marketing things here and here, different trailers, little snippets of it.
I remember it.
And I think it's just ironic that was actually the first boss asset made before everything, the first monster, because back in when we used to just make random monsters and we'll find out how to use them. And that was made for that game. It was used in the original PoE 2 trailer, right? It is the only incomplete, technically, but only from a balance standpoint, or it was the last boss to finish in the entire Path of Exile 2 campaign right now.
It sounds like there was like some sort of emotional demon that you had to battle there, of like the legacy of the original idea, and you had to finish it.
It is the idea embodied in its true self in game. In Minecraft, guys.
Holy, this is like, we were effectively like, we need to celebrate this boss finally being done. It was like at the origin, and now it's at this, point where we're about to deploy early access. Not to say the end, because the end is forever away.
Yeah.
That is they are true developers.
But,
Holy
on
shit.
that note of celebrating, like, how do you guys feel having now kind of, for the first time, I feel really like laid bare kind of everything you have, you're putting it out there, and only being 2 weeks away from everyone playing it.
Well, it's always scary, coming into a release, and I think especially for, there's like a bunch of people on the PoE 2 who have, who like they have, this is their first game that.
All right, I don't want to. We'll watch this the rest of that later. But that was amazing. That was surprisingly so much better than I thought it was going to be. They have brought a lot of my favorite, actually most of my mechanics that I go back for when I'm playing it, like PoE 1. Yeah. So I'm happy. I'm a happy camper. So let's actually, no, I gotta open Epic. Oh, that explains a lot. Oh my God. What? What do you mean, Epic? Why is it doing this now? All right. Okay, time for some Genshin. Let's open up my again. This should bring us back here. Restore that. Close that. All right. We didn't too much more from the last time we were playing, but we did have a good time. All right. That is actually, though, one of the craziest, like, to add so many things to a game and then realize, oh, we're just going to do a character model update, and then go from, okay, we need to do more than just a character model update. So what are we talking? Okay, we're going to make an expansion to the game? No, we're making a whole new game. All right. Sounds good. So, like, do we need to? We don't necessarily need to, but it's 100% worth the effort. All right, fuck it, let's do it. And by doing that and believing in that philosophy to take the steps needed to make the game as good as it can be, and redo it, designing the foundation on which the game stands, was a huge risk. A huge risk to lose, like, your player base or anything else. Don't tell me I need to. I'm running this. There we go. Okay. I was gonna be scared. I was gonna be scared I would have lost everything. Everything would have been gone, my friend. I don't think I would have liked it. Would have been probably one of the worst things out there. While we load, I'll run an ad for you guys. So we're not running into an ad. Like, pause content. Be good. Good for everybody. This is only on Twitch you'll be seeing an ad, so anyone on YouTube, you'll just see ads whenever they pop up stream. I know. No one likes ads. Like, in all honesty, everyone hates the ad. But they are a necessary evil for the unfortunate state of things. There's my mouse. Okay, what did we get? Okay, that game's a little loud. I think there should be about good. Okay. Where do we want to go? Because we have the stuff we got to just do for the quest. I was going to do that and do some exploring over here today. I want to try also getting my adventure rank up still. Ley lines would be good. So before I forget, I got money. I'm going to see what I can upgrade now. Okay, we can level her up. That's at least good. So, it sucks we're not going to get any experience just from killing stuff. But we will need to... Basically, doing the story is going to be the fastest way to get our adventure rank up. So, we're going to go teleport over here. And I got to change my tag. think I have to go up here. Yeah. Yeah. Right, I'm gonna need a lot of white iron. There's crystals. Nice. Ooh, this chest here. Nice. Let's grab that. Alright, hey. I didn't ask. I don't need no telemarketers here. All right.
なんでこんなところに石のテーブルが？しかも食器と酒壺がたくさん。隣の椅子には字が刻んであるな。ここに龍雲がいる。
Retainer.
ここに騎衆が座る。帝君ってもしかして元王帝君の龍雲。
So this is where they ate dinner. Cool.
昨月筑陽神君が言ってた仙人の中に龍雲釈風神君がいた。ってことは
So we're just gonna let it go, cause like, man.
あの龍雲釈風神君は他の仙人と一緒に食事
You know
を
what we
する
can do while we're doing this? We will have
も
the.
しそうなら仙人の好物を作ればあの龍雲釈風神君の気を引けるかもしれないぞ。
Oh wow, he's not live today. That's crazy.
でも
People are sick
仙
of
人
the
っ
economic
て
status.
どんな料理が好きなんだろうな。全然わからない。しょうがない。周りを見てみよう。過去に参拝しに来た人が何か手がかりを
Turn a
残して
feel
くれ
good
てるかも
moment
しれない。
into a feel great
そうだ。
moment.
仙人
Students,
って
get $100 when you open a no monthly fee RBC Advantage banking account, and we'll give another $100 to a charity of your choice.
Sorry guys, ads. We will, cause like the story doesn't matter to me right now. Like I said.
Like we do, clearly has a bit of a glutton for punishment with regard to just like mixing.
You totally could have done 6 and then like I don't know added more later in an expansion or something.
Yeah, I mean maybe we could have. I mean look, this is the plan. This is the plan. You know, I mean like as people go through early access, it's going to feel like there's just expansion content coming up pretty frequently. Just because you know we have all the stuff that we kind of got a lot of the way through. So yeah, there's stuff to come. I mean, look, I'm pretty sure like I really want to get the druid out. Like we announced it, we've talked about it. It's a lot of fun. You know, I'm keen to get that out there as soon as we can. You know, the huntress we've talked a bunch about as well. There's like those kinds of things. I think we'll be able to move towards those pretty quick. But you know, there's obviously more to do.
The other thing you mentioned, talking roadmap like things, is
There we go.
Always been. You know, it's hard to predict because a lot of
Why do I?
happen is, and what we leave space for is reacting to what the players want. And so if you plan everything for so long, you're going to have very, very, very slow reaction times to fixing, you know, or adding certain content where there may, you know, maybe the issue is like, the campaign needs more of this, or this class needs more of this, or something. So if you're planning, then you're going to be delivering on what they want solved like a year down the line or even longer. And where we like to remain very, very dynamic and like, you know, you want to be able to fix that stuff like, oh, well, this is the main problem. Like, sure, obviously you need more than a week sometimes, most of the time. But we want it generally to be that the next releases, expansions, updates, whatever can...
So we can get the best of both worlds.
So, yeah, you try not to get too strict with the planning has generally been our philosophy because, especially when it comes to actually having the live service product out, because that is very, very important. Otherwise, you're never going to seem like you're doing what people want, and what are you doing if not that?
So that actually is a good point. Like I was going to ask, what do you folks, what does the team want out
Hello.
of the beta? Because obviously it's like a good way to market the game.
Oh,
but
sorry,
it's
what?
Also, you know, key to shaping the game in the future. Like
So,
it's actual beta. It's not just early access.
I think one of the most important things, I think it's going to be really good for the development team to get back into a live mindset and like get it back into the idea of like everything we make is shipping.
People are
soon,
seeing
this.
this.
Like get back into this. People are seeing, like actually getting back into that and like being able to sort of see directly like, okay, we make something, it goes in the game, people like it, don't like it, like that kind of stuff.
Why?
Like, and that really, like,
Headset's
that
being
has been
weird.
in our studio for like most of its lifetime. Obviously, before we released PoE1, it wasn't, but after that point, I mean, we are a company. Like we are a company that likes to think that we can do live service better than anyone else. Like, that is our goal.
Okay, it is working now.
And so, like getting back into that again.
Watching the Path of Exile.
So that everyone's working on things that are going to be releasing.
Stuff. I'm doing the quest right now too.
Than 3 months away. Is going to think be really, really good for us again. I look forward to just being able to do that because these long term, like really long term things, like that span over years. It's like you go so long without proper feedback, like stuff kind of gets made, and then like it's not really in a real game, and so it doesn't get
probably
tested
lose
properly.
perspective,
And you absolutely lose perspective on this stuff. So I think that that's just going to be a really great to get back to
What?
that again.
How do we even encounter points?
Honestly, as you said, it is early access. It is a beta period, and I'd say personally speaking, the thing that, and we mentioned it briefly about the character balance and the builds that are broken and all that, that's obviously pretty useful to me, right?
Yep.
Plus we have other systems in there like, the checkpointing system, right? You have to kill the boss in one life. These are things we haven't mass tested, and obviously other games have, and they work, and that's awesome. There are other things like, the end game system is a little bit less forgiving in that if you die, you fail.
Nice, max level.
Right? These things are things that we obviously need to test and iterate on in the future by adjusting the difficulty and stuff like that. And especially as you get towards this point of, the end game, like, okay, Act 1 has been tested like crazy.
Yep.
Right? And you get less and less testing as it goes on because you get less people, they've just been around for less time. And so, it's going to be a huge amount of iteration and feedback and from the players and us just, reevaluating all the stuff. And the thing is, we're always dynamic about that stuff. Like, we'll just change things if it's wrong. We'll redesign it. We'll come up with a new way. Jonathan,
and that's what good game designers do. They will change things that need to be changed.
We'll find option C, we'll find option D, and we'll keep changing things, and we'll make it work. So it's going to be a lot of that iteration. On
you're being one of them. They listen to players.
Forgiving, because
traveling sucks. Let's fix it.
Pretty hard. It can be pretty hard. And so when you're on that fine line of like, if things are difficult, it's not too easy to know if you've tilted one way or the other. So, finding what everyone agrees should be the common corrected difficulty is something that I will obviously be paying very, very, very close attention to.
It's a pretty hard thing to nail down when you are making the game. And so we've seen that a lot where you folks have been pretty willing to change and then rechange and rechange again. Some of the core features like flasks and the waypointing system and portals, and you're keeping that kind of mindset going into the beta then.
Of course. I mean, look, we're always willing to change stuff. Like that flask thing, like the most recent change to that was like ultra recent. Like have we even had like a closed beta of that yet? Was that? No, I think we haven't. Yeah, but I mean, I think it's way better than it was. Like it's things have improved a lot. And honestly, like that's one of those things we've been wanting to do, something to sort out flasks for ages.
Yep.
And it really came about because when actually looking at what new players were having trouble with when they were playing, Flask Piano was actually like, even from the very beginning of the game, actually ended up being one of those things that like people just had trouble with, just the manual dexterity required to like hit all your different flask keys, and then you have to know when one of your flasks has run out so you can move to the next one, and like various things like that. Like all that stuff actually was like just a weirdly large amount of mechanical complexity right from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And then even at in-game, I don't think it was really that satisfying either, because you ended up with like, just like having to press all these buttons all the time, and obviously it's all utility.
I'm gonna change some volume stuff.
In-game. And then we kind of tried to band-aid this in PoE1 with the, some of the flask automation stuff that was added there, but there was still this idea that that you're still more powerful if you don't automate. So therefore, there's that trade-off there. So
you're just more powerful if you get mage blood. Really.
Sure. I guess. Sure.
All right, you guys should be able to hear that. It's being better what they're talking about.
So the point is, effectively, that the charm stuff that we're doing effectively means that you no longer, the game is making that decision of like, that stuff will be automated. You no longer have to do that like crazy flask piano to get the best, the best out of your character. And I think that is definitely a step in the right direction. And the other thing as well is it actually makes the crafting more meaningful, I think, on the flasks, because when you've got like 5 slots, then like the individual mods and the individual stuff like seems to tend to not matter as much. I mean, obviously, people want instant recovery and things like that. But you know, like but like now it's like the actual. It's much more meaningful. Like on your life flask, the choice between do I want instant or do I want way more like life, like that kind of stuff actually can be a lot more meaningful once you've only got one. So yeah, I think it is a lot better personally.
You have we'll jump ahead to floss since we're on the topic. You have
Ooh, alright.
effectively the fact that there's a mana
So I got Noel's weapon up all the way, 250.
And how does that tie into your design for mana? And are we always going to be using a mana flask slot, or if we solve another way, what does it do?
You can absolutely solve another way, and then you'll just have a flask slot that isn't doing anything for sure. But I think it kind of has to work that way because we really don't want. Yeah, because like once you sort of start to get into changing that around, I feel like the system sort of starts to break with regard to like the feeling of like I know where mana is, I know where my health is, like that kind of stuff. That being said, you know we've always got uniques and stuff like that.
No, I gotta swim.
Yeah, there is a unique. There is a unique to equip two flasks.
But the thing is, then that's a build choice that you're making, so it's a little bit different, and that's fine. But
I'm 1,700 away from my next level.
So it does sound like on the mana side of things, then that there are going to be multiple angles of solving mana, not necessarily.
Yeah, so we've got Leech edition number 475 is how it works, and we've finally got it right this time. So you know, yeah, I think it works, and I think it's good. So I think that Leech will be more common.
I'm not gonna have to like crack out the Leech diagram showing the different buckets and things like that.
I was saying, I think that Leech might be. No, I was going to say Leech is one of the top.
Oh, I have to make soup more of me.
Most designer time of anything in the history, but I actually don't think it's that. I think the actual worst offender is what stats should Dex give you. I think that is like that one has wasted there's so many arguments about that.
I feel like that one's never come to the fore. Like we know about the Leech one,
but no one is happy about giving accuracy. But no one has a better idea than what accuracy that it can give. And then, like everyone's going to come up with like in chat a bit. I bet they'll be like saying, oh, you know, it can give this or this, whatever. But there's like, yeah, seriously, there's been endless arguments about that topic. It's like it's outrageous.
Yeah. You've got me thinking about it now.
Yeah.
I mean, speed would be good, but then that's probably too much.
No, something like Dex, you just can't.
Dex.
Come fucky this.
We can get all the designers down here right now.
Yeah, I know. We'll just have it out again. We'll just have it out again.
The longest Q&A of all time.
Yeah.
It's already going to be that.
Sometimes you're just like, you start the day, and you're like, all right, here are the problems we need to solve, and then you're like,
what about?
But then accuracy on Dex comes up again.
No, it's 3 p.m. and we're still discussing dexterity.
Yeah.
So go home. Just make it accuracy again.
Exactly. That is literally how it comes back to accuracy every time.
This is okay.
Yeah.
Do I need to make those?
Rewinding a little bit, we can't forget our roots with Path of Exile 1, of course. So for the PoE 1 enjoyers, what is the plan for PoE 1 during the course of this beta? Is there going to be leagues launching? Is it on the back burner?
Yeah, there absolutely will be leagues launching. Now I don't know the exact date, but the plan is kind of late February.
Yep.
But I mean, look, we'll see what happens. I will admit that unfortunately we did have to steal a few PoE 1 resources just towards the end here.
Understandable.
Kind of been a bit unfortunate. I really wish we didn't have to. But yeah, as I said, we kind of underestimated some of the stuff. But everyone is going to be going back to PoE 1 again for the February League. And you know, we're going to make sure that we can do that. Like one of the things that was a big problem for our studio when we had a long-term project and a short-term project is that you know, you've always had that thing of like you always want to work on the short-term thing.
Yeah.
So now that we've got 2 short-term things coming up, I actually think it's going to be a bit easier to prioritize in some respects because
funnily enough,
you know, it's just like all that stuff is then you know, is like coming up soon. So
I have a lot of stuff I can cook. Holy shit.
We need to get that PoE 1 expansion out next.
Yeah, obviously, you know, I just want to always make it clear that, you know, the reason why things can't be so planned out is, again, we're just releasing this game.
Yep.
Obviously, we pivoted to endgame, and then...
Oh, so this you have to do certain things to enter these. I got it.
You know, things obviously change. There are unpredictable things in the environment we can't necessarily guarantee. And then, of course, you have, you know... Christmas coming up and all of that, right? There's so many variables to consider, but we also don't know how much time is going to be invested necessarily or need to be invested into live operations for post-release. How many problems are going to go wrong? How many builds are how many of the uniques are broken, how many, you know, and where do all these resources go? There are like just millions of variables here to consider, and so like it can get very, very difficult, especially at this time. But once you release, you have a bit of a grace period, so to speak, where well, more like a period of extreme amounts of fire, where we're putting out fires everywhere. But we have a period where we're fixing everything, you get everything stable, and then we're going to be like, all right, let's recalibrate, figure everything out, and what is our plans, and then
what are you up to, sir?
Based also on the feedback we get from that, you know, period where everything's on fire. Not to make it sound like it's going to be bad, but that is the inevitability. Is there's always problems.
Hopefully, it appears good from a player perspective, but there's always going to be like, oh my god, people found this, and you know, like
we don't have to see all.
I kind of hope I get another Noel.
Like ideally, the best thing is when we're able to fix some kind of exploit before people even hear about it. Yeah. And when I say exploit, I'm just talking about some broken thing. Like if we we obviously normally have to worry about like the whole mid-league nerf concept. But it's like if you can deal with something within like an hour or two of it happening, then it's like you're kind of okay because you know no one had a chance to kind of like everyone didn't swap their build over to it or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna have to be really on the ball for PoE 2 just because there's so many things that are new.
Well, I mean, look, we have several bosses
oh my god
with several elevators. How many of them can be pushed up the elevator? You know what I mean? Well, that's what I mean. When I say a fire, I'm talking about bosses getting pushed up elevators. Like that's not okay.
I am liking my mercenary flashbang knockback is very fun.
Right. Yeah, you need to look into that, by the way. The whole flashbang.
I feel like you're gonna nerf my build.
Yeah.
Stay away from my fires already.
Yeah.
No, these are the fun things. Discovering that stuff can be very fun for the players. It's just internally, it's like, oh no, what are we doing? It can get a little bit panicky after release, you know, and it you know, there's lots of
oh no, another one?
What do I solve first? But obviously, you know, it's the same as PoE 1. We're good at it at this point.
Got some experience.
Yeah.
You aren't going to be torturing us with like releasing beta stuff at the same time as
oh thank god
PoE 1 league launches.
Yeah, the plan is to keep them separated a bit from each other so that you know you get a chance to play.
Don't
with
make me
both
choose.
Yeah.
So we saw a cinematic, to put it lightly. It was that was quite epic, and I know has been cooking for quite some time. And
well, they reuse these assets in
just a lot of story stuff happening in
Honkai. They just changed the colors a little.
Previously now, so stepping up your storytelling game here a bit.
Yeah, so we're really wanting to make sure that the storytelling in PoE 2 is much better than what it was in PoE 1. Like, you know, there's a lot more kind of, I guess, like that kind of like stuff with the like the introductions to boss fights and the outros and things like that. Like all that stuff, we've just got a lot more storytelling going in. All of those
nope.
things. We do have the intro cutscene. There's also kind of like light, like between the acts, there's these kind of like more kind of motion graphic type cutscenes to
nice.
Establish things. And there might be some more surprises later on in the game as well. Not in early access, unfortunately. Later on that we can that you can see as well. But ultimately, we just want to make sure that like I think a lot of people who got through the PoE 1 story had no idea what was happening by the end.
Well, somewhat people didn't.
That's not the case this time around. That people really are able to absorb things. But
you know,
one thing I will say though is that it's ultra important to us that we don't break the feeling that like when you're playing a second time. That it feels like we don't want it to feel annoying the second time.
Yeah, we were talking about this morning. About you don't take the control out of the player's
exactly.
hands.
So yeah, I'm personally a believer of the fact that when you change the camera position for a cutscene, immediately it feels way more annoying. Like because there's this whole thing of like if you click on an NPC and like the camera changes position, like sure when you're playing through the campaign the first time,
possibly
that kind of thing is like like that can be cool. But then if you're like you're playing through the second, third, fourth, fifth time, you want to be able to go to the NPC and go click and just get past, and without it feeling like you've had to sort of worry about anything. So yeah, like effectively, we want to make sure that it's still that we still have that because ultimately we're a game you expect people to play through many times. So ideally, we can kind of deliver both the situation where the first time you play through it, it feels like an amazing story that you're getting, that you're taking seriously, that you're understanding, that there's like all those sort of touch points and little things just all through, while also maintaining the fact that if you know what you're doing, it's like you don't have to go talk to some quest giver just to get a quest. Like you could just go do the thing, without having to talk to someone about it first. So that kind of stuff is really important just to make that stuff work well when you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you said something this morning that stuck with me, where you said like Path of Exile is a game where the player's meta knowledge is allowed and encouraged.
Absolutely. So
you're allowed to cheat the quests.
Oh yeah, that's like it. If the game's not playing fair,
needs to be sufficient as far as like being able to.
It's like Noida.
If you can, you don't want to have it so you just talk to an NPC just to find out something you already knew as a player.
Yeah, like if you know you kill this boss, you get the next area's waypoint. So you just like kill it, log out, log in, waypoint, right?
I love doing that.
Meta knowledge.
Sure. Yeah.
So you explained to me the other day the
Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring Amber every time for fire quests now. No point, like Bennett's actually so like, oh my god.
I think helped put it in a lot more perspective for me and made me appreciate and understand what's going on with the story.
So effectively, what you're seeing in the opening cutscene is effectively the a new seed of a beast that is going to be is growing. Now in PoE 1, the beast was killed, and then what happened in response to that is a bunch of all the gods in the world were able to effectively rise again. And you killed a bunch of them, but there are more, in the world, and effectively. We don't want to spoil too much about the storyline overall, but effectively, obviously, someone here, the Count, is wanting to harness the power of the beast once again, and then we have the mysterious figure there who is saying, no, don't do this. This always turns out badly.
There was a comment in chat that I loved that was like, "Stop opening Eldritch boxes."
Yeah, exactly.
Why do people keep doing this?
Yeah.
I would.
If someone handed you a mysterious orb, wouldn't you press the button?
I mean,
there's a puzzle box.
Exactly.
Yes.
Am I like missing something? Like
it's gonna take me.
Indeed.
So we had a fun moment earlier where you were watching it and you were like, "Oh, we really need to rename that passive because he's a Karui."
no, it's supposed to do that. But how do I turn? Right. Okay, I see what I have to do.
You started telling him.
I stomped out of the room. And I was like, "We need to rename that notable. He's Karui." And then I was kindly reminded that actually he was
an orphan who
orphan and was adopted by a Izamite and raised and so yes, there is a mixture of Karui and Izamite background, and I was like,
it works. You were wrong.
Fair enough. I walked back in here all sad and whatever. My bad. It's fine. The name is good.
He looked so chastised when he came back in.
Oh man.
Points to the fact that I feel like you're doing a lot more with the characters here.
For
sure. You
sure.
even mentioned that ascendancy stuff is going to have an impact story-wise.
So
that's wild.
We just think a lot about this kind of stuff. So the acolyte of, and I always get this name wrong. The acolyte of is it Chalula? Chayula. I always say this wrong. The acolyte of Chayula, for example. So that we have this sort of storyline with the origins of the monks, where there's like an order of monks who worship a thing they call the Dreamer, and the Dreamer is actually Chayula. So they don't know this. So they're effectively worshiping a breach demon. So the acolyte of Chayula is effectively you embracing the fact that I'm worshiping a breach demon. I'm just going to go all the way.
I'm in too deep now.
Yeah, exactly. we're just gonna do it. So there's a lot of thinking like that goes into these things. Like what is the history of these people? Like because I think a lot of that stuff inspires interesting mechanics as well. So, for example, on that one, you've got that into the breach skill, which kind of means you're always in a breach all the time. You can see the things going on. Like that stuff is. I think that there's a lot of cool inspiration there. So coming up with that storyline stuff.
That was easy.
There's a couple other little things that I think is cool as well, and hopefully people will notice and pay attention to. So there's one of the bosses that was shown as uses a lot of time or chronomancy. And, interestingly, if you are a sorceress and you ascend to chronomancer and you then go to fight that boss, if you, for example, try to use time freeze, the boss is like, that doesn't work on me.
Nah, mate.
And if you cast temporal chains on them, he's like,
nah, mate.
Just puts it back on you. And it's like, and so there's interesting things like that, and it doesn't like change things on a grand scale, right? It doesn't make a certain class not viable or anything like that. But there's just interesting little quirks and quips everywhere. Different bosses have different intro lines depending on what class you're playing.
That is sick.
Different skill lines sometimes depending on what class you're playing.
Yeah, we've got different dialogue all through the campaign for different classes. Like the sorceress is obviously from the Maraketh. When she goes back to the Maraketh, there's kind of a little backstory there about how she was banished originally. So she needs to find a way to she needs to be accepted back into their culture again. Like we've got things like the character we talked about earlier. So the warrior, was an orphan. He was brought up by actually one of the NPCs in Act 1 town. So obviously there's a whole different dialogue there because he's effectively his adopted son. We've got things like that. There's a lot of thought that's gone into just trying to make it feel like all these character classes have some level of involvement with the world. They didn't just come into existence the moment that you.
There's other little things. So, like more on the narrative side, we saw the world map. You have the icons that show different things that are in each act, like all the things you want to explore, or find, and awesome. But each of them also has a little bit of a kind of little bit of text on them as well. And like, for example, there's one in one of the first areas in the game that's just like a camp of Iron Count guards, and we showed it in a trailer when the Ranger class trailer we did. Whenever it was, you saw the Ranger kill some of them because they were trying to like hurt a child, and the child was just trying to get some food, and the Ranger just like snipes them with arrows and kills them ruthlessly. And so you read this thing and you're like, you hear whispers of an Iron Count, scouting party that was slain by a rogue archer or something like that. So you get these little things where we're like connecting a lot of little dots, and even that you absorb a little bit of interesting little information. You've got other things, for example, when you enter an area, it not only says the name at the top now, it has almost a subtitle text that's giving you a little bit of history. And these little things like somehow make the world building feel so much better. And when you approach certain landmark rooms and you walk into them, you'll get a banner at the top as well, which says what it is and gives again a little bit of a thing. And all these little micro narrative delivery mechanisms like make you feel way more immersed in the world and way more aware of what's going on and way more connected to your character, way more connected to the bosses, to the NPCs. There's a lot we're doing now that we certainly never did before. We didn't even think of before. But yeah, it's
I like that
awesome.
a lot because like, as an action RPG gamer, I don't really care too much about plot, but I do want a really cool world to be blowing monsters.
All right.
Let's look out. I want the characters to be cool. I want the baddies to be cool, and I want like the things happening around me that like build out a bit of that story without me having to stop killing stuff.
Yeah.
And it sounds like there's more of that going on as well, which is great.
There's tons.
The baddies being cool. I mean, that's how we almost designed an ascendancy class in here just before when we were watching that trailer earlier.
Yes. So what you were saying a shadow. You came up with a shadow ascendancy.
Yeah. Internally we had some developers watching the trailer yesterday, getting excited about it, and then I was like, I want to play that. I want to play that character. I want to be that character. Yeah. That's awesome. That like. Kind of Val Thaumaturge type character, and so like all of a sudden it's like we should make that a class, and then we had another guy like suggest it should be a shadow, and so now I'm like, oh yeah, we're definitely we have to do a Val Thaumaturge shadow.
There's nothing now.
That's gonna be cool. And you can do awesome things now. Even I know it's hard to see because you hide it under all the armor.
Okay.
You can do things like. With our character classes, just due to the upgrades and
wow, my daily commission's completed.
Added to them and stuff like that is completely feasible in the future, and like I want to do a lot more of that stuff. Like for the there's little things like for the Warbringer, I think was the class name on the warrior.
Yeah.
When you take that ancestral totem node, all your totems now have like an extra blue glow to them, kind of like they're enhanced by this ancestral magic. And what we also want to do is add tattoos as well that like glow blue when you're using certain skills. And all
that's sick.
These are little things that again connect all the culture and all that stuff together and make you feel like it's believable as opposed, and this is a character as opposed to this is just a mechanic, and
makes picking an ascendancy more epic. I know that there was a part in the trailer that was like not fully finished where you ascend and it doesn't really do anything, but I know you want it to be like a cool moment where some
adventure rank 26.
Even the another one, the Blood Mage, when you like play the Blood Mage, now you get an additive surge on your character whenever you cast spells. You're getting like almost blood bending kind of vibe going on, and like
drawing it from their veins and sending out a fireball.
It's cool.
That is sick.
Real cool.
Yeah, you can have like
that is so fucking cool.
As they ascend and things like that. I mean, that just makes taking ascendancy way more cool. Which is it's already, I think, I almost feel like ascendancy is more important than the classes for players, kind of like feeling the vibe of what they want to do with their character. Like.
For sure, because the classes are pretty open. You can play.
All right, so I'll wait to use that.
Tree at a start point, but by high level, you kind of go wherever you want to go. Using jewels, especially getting off-class stuff, you can kind of be whatever you want with the base class. Yeah. So eventually, the ascendancy is.
All right, so I have 6 Mondstadt keys, 1 Lue key. Leeway.
That another different class wouldn't be able to actually have. So yeah.
So you want to make that super cool. And on that note, I know I was definitely confused. I know people are definitely confused.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing that bit.
And what's happening with that, and like watching the Sekima trial and being like, oh,
Yeah, I gotta
if don't
turn
like this. Oh, it's just another lab
yeah.
again. But I want you to like lay it out as like simply as possible. Like how do you ascend?
Yeah, so effectively, in the full game, there's going to be 3 Ascendancy trials. For early access, there's 2. And effectively, you can use any of those Ascendancy trials to be able to do your Ascension.
You choose.
You choose which one. And effectively, if you, as you get to higher level keys for those trials, that will unlock more points. Like if you do it at certain level breakpoints, that will allow you to get more points for those classes. So if you want to just play the entire, just only the Trial of the Chaos God, with to get all your points, then you can just decide to do that. Just play it at higher and higher levels, and you get more points as you go through. If you want to do a mix, that's fine too. Personally, I think people will want to try out all the different content. I mean, you might think that you, but even within the trials, there's choices, right? Like, I know that there's always contention around traps.
Ooh, lapis.
Because in the because in the trial of the Sekimas, you can choose which rooms you want to go to. If you don't want to deal with traps, you just don't pick those rooms, right? Like,
you don't go into the gauntlet rooms.
Don't go to the gauntlet rooms. You can just go to other things.
Do the combat ones.
Do the combat ones, and that's fine too. So effectively, it's like you always get to choose like what you're doing there. Like it's funny because like I know traps are so contentious, but also there are other people who just enjoy that stuff. So we want to have something for all these people too.
There's these like Path of Exile, divisive content, but lots of choice, and you can choose what to do and what not to do, and then we're embracing that here now, and that is.
I mean, you're clearly leaning into that now. You have, well, I mean, such a competitive advantage in that you have so much content, and even with PoE2, that's still going to be the case. So you can lean into that, like making content that is spicier but divisive.
For sure.
And now you're like separating trees and having these things be a little able to be focused on a lot more. And you're doing that with the trial, with the ascendancies. So and you can kind of do all of them and drip feed yourself smaller progression if you want.
And there's also stuff that you're going to be getting from those, like specific rewards and everything that might incentivize you to do that.
It's good.
Of course, on the other hand, if you don't want to do that content, we have full open trade, right? You can just trade for the rewards, and that's fine too. So
Yes, like the rewards there, for example, like jewels drop throughout the world. But if you want to get more jewels, Now, if you want to get the radius jewels, you
Freeze, brother.
Trial of the Sekima.
So just for anyone who isn't a Path of Exile 1 player, this is effectively a sequel to Sanctum League that we did in Path of Exile 1. So it's mechanically very similar, but it's obviously a Marraketh, like a Marraketh trial now, and we've changed it. A lot of things about it have changed, and like the content is new, but it is effectively the same overall mechanic. In terms of that sort of roguelike mechanic that we have.
It's the same with the other one. You have Ultimatum and PoE1 being the theme, and of course now it's redesigned and it's evolved into Trial of Chaos. So a lot of people in chat would have been spamming Ultimatum, and for those who haven't played would probably be like, what? I don't understand.
I'm interested to see what they do with what they haven't shown us.
Is a sequel to Ultimatum. Which is
and we just have to get used to the new names, which is very hard. Anyway, the point being, like, of course, and Valorbs drop in the world as well, and if you want a larger dose of Valorbs, and you don't want to trade, feel free to run some ultimatums. Thing is, because they're all item generated keys as well, it's not like you have to do it right then and there. You can trade the keys away. At any point, you can also buy more keys if you want to farm more of that thing. And if you just want to do it later, just stockpile a bunch of them, run them all at your leisure. You know what I mean? It's like you have the freedom. They are itemized, tradable, as a lot in Path of Exile tradition. But
as is everything, right? We do the only thing you can't trade is
Just teleport there.
So we're like the exact opposite of most games, where it's like the gold is freely tradable and the items get locked. We're like the gold is the only thing you can't trade, and every other item is free and open.
Yeah, and that's because you've made gold be this like way to be like you're playing the game, so you have access to this, and
absolutely,
so you don't want to trade that away.
Effectively.
So how on the ascendancies and the trials, how hard do you foresee getting your ascendancy to be while leveling?
Boy.
Attempt these things multiple times, and what does that look like if you do?
Well, I failed the first time I did this. Did the trial.
It is important to know that first itemized key is a quest key, and we have special rules around it that if you do fail, you can just repeat it, right?
Yeah, you changed that recently because that was something that I didn't actually realize you'd changed. I guess it was a little bit too harsh to require to get another one.
Yeah, you weren't the only one failing it.
Yeah.
So pretty much you get to reattempt it, and for something like Ultimatum, just to immediately start thinking of exploits. It's like, I can just do 3 of the waves, then intentionally fail, and then repeat them. Well, we've thought of that. Don't worry, you can't. But yeah, the first ones are repeatable. You're not going to be like,
No Firefly, I missed you.
Play to the whims of random generation to ascend like that.
Right.
Yeah, so
it is pretty hard though. Like it'll take. I definitely don't think you'll do it on your first attempt.
I did. Not
you
to
did?
brag.
You
Not
did?
to brag.
Wow,
I did.
well,
I did
just-
pass on. I was clenched though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, especially in that boss fight.
I was
yeah.
watching him do the boss
You
fight.
came
from
by
afar.
right as I was doing the boss fight.
But you had some like kind of powerful boons there, to be perfectly honest. So.
I got 60% move speed. But
Yeah,
that
you
was
were
part
like-
of my strategic choice.
I was watching you from. I'm like, how is he so fast?
This isn't the PoE2 design.
I was like, what was dodge rolls going across half the arena?
This game's supposed to be slow.
No.
Yeah, it was good. It was good fun. I quite liked it. I like mostly like Sanctum. I don't want to do it all the time, but I did quite like the Trial of Sekima. But knowing that there's other choices, so I can do Ultimatum instead or something like that, is fun.
100%.
So you've got these like 2 roguelike dungeons that are going into the beta that launch, but they've done very differently. One's got the honor system, which is like a separate health, but it's based on and scaled by your health, which I noted as quite
And your defenses
interesting.
now, it can be
And your
fully
defenses.
mitigated and
yeah,
everything.
So fully scaled by your character. You go in a tanky character, you'll be tanky in the dungeon, which is really cool. So
And then with
you've solved
Ultimatum,
that.
and just because people will ask, in Ultimatum there aren't any traps.
Yes.
So that's the
no
thing
traps
that
in Ultimatum
yeah.
and no honor system in Ultimatum. If
Correct.
you just want more of a pure
Yeah,
combat
correct. You can do
experience,
Ultimatum,
then
so.
that's your choice. And then there's going to be a third one as well, which
They will eventually.
is a secret for now.
So
but-
once Act 4 goes in, then we'll have a third trial. So people sort of broadly know that the Kuruia in Act 4. So it's a question of how would the Kuruia ascend? Is the question.
Yes, and if there's any other things that have been called trials associated with the crew at some point in the past, and how likely that is to be related.
I'm just thinking now, we're just thinking of that Val Thaumaturge class before, and I'm already
Okay, I don't care.
You ascend an Ultimatum, we want the Trial Master to say different lines to you because you're like choosing the way of the Val. I can't stop thinking about all this stuff.
I did hear a few of his lines in some of the gameplay.
Okay, I need to be adventure rank 32 to continue.
The Trial Master.
Yeah, he's cool.
Good. A little salty sometimes that you're taking this power, it seems.
Of that.
So we have the unique rewards from each of them. We got like the like you said, the jewels are global, but there are unique jewels, and then there are unique socketables from the other one.
Yep.
And there's something planned to be unique from the final third trial that will be added later?
Of course.
Yes, there is already.
Oh no, story quests are now unlocked.
Keep some secrets. Fine then.
Yeah. Again, I value the discovery, right? I'm certainly, if I accidentally say it, it is certainly by mistake. But yes, don't.
And that Varlorbs from the Ultimatum in particular they seem like they're a lot more important, a lot more powerful.
I mean, I certainly think that like some of the stuff is a lot better with how they work. So So one of the things that we wanted to change was that implicits on items are truly implicit. Like you can't get rid of them; they stay there. And so that means that when you do a Varlorb, the mod that you get there now is an addition to whatever implicit already had, which is obviously good. And then the next one being that you can get plus 1 socket above the normal limit, which is
what is it trying to get me to do?
So especially with the soul cores, so that in the trial of chaos, you get soul cores that you can't get from anywhere else, and those effectively are mods that are typically a bit beyond what you would normally get like on regular items. Whereas runes, which kind of drop everywhere, those ones are just kind of normal everyday mods that you would expect to find on any kind of item. Just resists and damage and that kind of stuff. So effectively, the soul cores is is kind of the more end gamey socketables that you might want to be using. And
I knew she was going to be a character.
I mean, it's something that everyone will want. But on the other hand, there is that risk of just bricking your item. So that's the deadly gamble you have as your final crafting step there.
It's Varlorbs are more forgiving though.
They are, yeah.
But like if you think about we talked about enchantment, so some slots you might value the enchantment over a rune or a socket slot, right? That probably, especially towards end game, I'd say that's probably going to tilt that way because maybe a soul core contests with it, but the whole point is that there's choice there involved. And then there's enchantment. We just talked about the socket.
Oh wow, there's some quests I need to do that actually give like a substantial amount of stuff.
For just say regular rare items, it will re-roll like 1 to 3.
Yeah, just a 26.
Effectively do a chaos orb on 1 to 3 modifiers, not all 6.
Yeah. 28.
As much as that can
and then 30.
downside, because if you're using on a very good item, Obviously, it's going to take away the good ones.
28, you get some.
But if you're using it on a mid
28.
item,
28 for new things.
Very good. Now, I've had this happen. Like when I've been playing, I've got like this is,
Yeah.
you know, life, defense, double res, and something else that I don't want. And I'm like, I'll just start valing everything because why not? You know, I've got my Val orbs and I val it and it re-rolls that bottom mod into a tri-res, and now I got a tri-res double defense life helmet, and I was like, yo, awesome. So even that, which can often be perceived as a bad outcome, now isn't going to completely brick your item. And so, for example, if you have a weapon, you know, you got your 3 damage mods, and you got some bad suffixes, it could even be an option.
No,
you know,
not all of it.
Hopefully it doesn't just remove all 3 damage mods, you know, whereas before it's like if it bricked it, it often was almost always a brick, right? Like that item is now dead, so.
And then you told me about a new unique result, which I don't know if you want to spoil or not.
100%.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Doing a quest to get like 500.
I even got that one past Rishi, honestly.
I mean, he got it made.
Okay, great.
We discussed it. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I messaged it to him thinking he'll be like, no way, this is unacceptable. But no,
he was all for it.
You know,
Okay,
it didn't turn into a dexterity chat.
Yeah.
And so, what it effectively does is it just takes the mod values and it goes up to, I can't remember exactly the values, but let's just say it changes all the values to between 0.8 and 1.2 of what they were, multiplied. But
what the fuck?
Doesn't care about the maximums. So, for example, if you had 1,000 life Helm's Heart, you can use this to get, again,
where are the rest? Like what?
Because I can't remember what we balanced it to, but you'll be able to get a 1,200 life Helm's Heart, for example. Now that's obviously giving up the enchantment and a socket. Just thinking about sockets on Helm's Heart. I can't remember what we did, but whatever. I think you can actually do that, which is interesting. But ultimately, it's like,
okay, at least under here.
Do I want the enchantment? Do I want an extra, 100 something, 200 life, whatever that ends up being? Or do I want the socket? So it's quite an interesting choice and adds an extra axis of corruption to unique items that is, I think...
Corrupted divining of uniques. Interesting.
Yeah, effectively, it's divining them, but with higher maximums and lower minimums.
Surely there's going to be some broken things like max res or something like that.
I mean, we'll find out.
Cross that bridge when it comes to it. Yeah.
It's fine.
So that was all just talking about the trials, how you actually get your ascendancies. But what about the actual ascendancies themselves? How are they cooking?
Well, they're fun. They're cool.
Yeah.
We certainly tried to get what we've tried to do is for the class we've tried to have one that's a bit more out there.
Yeah.
You know, something that isn't just like. If you think even about in PoE 1, you've got the duelist, you can go like champion.
Hey, leave me alone, you old fucker.
Holy words, I don't remember, but you know the drill. And the gladiator. And the problem is like, okay, they're all just about like hitting stuff with weapons, and they haven't. There's nothing really out there. Sure, they all sound cool. Like, don't get me wrong, and they can be cool, and they do have differences, but there's nothing that's like kind of crazy. So all of a sudden now when you're like, sorceress, you're using all your elemental skills, and now you can just like go into this thing that can stop time. It's a little bit more crazy, and you got the mercenary, and you can turn into a gemling legionnaire and effectively fuse gems into your flesh to like.
That is actually so metal that they made that a thing.
Just talking about crossbows and projectiles over and over and over and over again. It's like doing kind of whack stuff.
Oh my god!
Like that. That's awesome, and we're gonna make sure every single class has one thing that is like definitely out there. And then one thing that's more predictable, more to the expectation of the trope. For example, the.
Oh my god! Switch to Noel. Thank you.
And but yeah, lots and lots of cool interactions, just cool playing with different mechanics, and we've tried to make them like, for example, none of them call out a weapon, right? None of them. So we're trying to make sure that they're broad enough to be that you might be a ranger going a Deadeye, but playing a caster, right? Yeah. Playing spells, like keeping all of that open, that flexibility, that kind of crazy, for the Johnny players, as we call it, out there, who want to just completely experiment and figure out, the most broken, weird stuff. And you get things with that when you're still like, okay, I'm a ranger, and I'm using a quill rain in one weapon set, spec'd into a bunch of prod speed, and speed, and in my second.
My god, bro, I hate this fucking enemy. I hate being so weak in fighting this guy.
More spell damage side, and you got a whack tree, and all of a sudden now you're this like Deadeye, Archer, Spellcaster, Mage hybrid, doing all kinds of wacky stuff, or like even, or let's say the same build and experimenting with a bunch of triggers. And so you're using your bow as a Quill Rain as a high attack speed delivery mechanism for, you know, laying down a bunch of either CCs or slows or building.
Oh my god, I have so much to fucking do.
Some pretty out there things going on, and
thank God.
It's not like just like benefiting only arrows or only bow attacks or anything like that. It's broad and now, you know, opens up the world to what you can do. And same, like the Gemling Legionnaire on the Mercenary is entirely just about gem slots, skills, support, etc. There's no, you don't have to be anything. You can be literally whatever build you want. And yeah, so that's embracing that, and making sure people still, even though we have all these classes, we're embracing that path of exile. You can do anything fantasy that we want people to be able to do. And if you don't want to go with the trope, perfectly fine. Yeah, and you'll still be powerful.
It sounds like you're really trying to avoid that thing that we've had a couple times in PoE 1 where like a certain niche is relegated to one ascendancy. Like that's the only way to go for it. Sure. It sounds like that's not going to be the case here.
Well, at least if we're doing our job right, that should be the case. Yeah.
And with so many of the ascendancies as well. Got a lot of choices.
They're fixing a lot of problems that PoE had originally.
Ascendancies available, and it was some sort of weird split campaign stuff and all that. I don't really know at this point. It's a bit confusing. You mentioned Deadeye though, so it sounds like some of them are coming forwards. But is it all just being?
I think it's more
redone
the name. At this point, At this point, they'll just be different, right? Like originally, way back when, we were planning on just keeping the ascendancies as they were and putting them over. But at this point, that wouldn't even be good enough because like it doesn't fit the kind of like Path of Exile 2 way of designing this thing. So I mean, look, we might have a class called the Deadeye, and it might have the same themes, but it'll be like different actual mechanics and different things.
That is good to hear.
Yeah, even the Deadeye, you got Tailwind, works differently. You've still got an additional projectile. You know, like there are things that certainly carry over, but it's really easy, and it's honestly been fun just looking at them going like, you know, now we have all these system changes, all these skills, and everything works like this. Just what would the perfect class be? Not like how can we retrofit and band-aid a PoE 1 class to work. It's just way better to look at it and go, here's all the things we want. So. Well, yeah, like when you only have now the Life and Mana Flask and stuff, it could obviously things don't work quite the same. But then now you have the charm system, and all of a sudden,
Pathfinder would be cool with that.
Where's the thing I grabbed?
Like stacking charms.
So it's just here are 12, eventually 36 classes. It's not really like here's the PoE 1 counterpart and they're identical kind of thing anymore, for sure. Too many things changed for that to even be possible anyway.
That's good to hear. I'm done listening to this.
We can skip over the flasks and trinkets as we did cover.
And we're gonna listen to music now. So this is where the stream for YouTube is going to conclude. And we're going to just be moving to on Twitch here. But thank you for anyone watching on YouTube. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. Live your best fucking life as always.